I call it ghost dog. And basically, and it's crazy as heck because it's like you want to know your relationship and know your training, you do ghost dog. What is ghost dog?
Yeah.
Ghost dog is you go out on the field, you let your dog just free. Let him free. Let him go off in the training field. Do whatever he wants. When you see him involved in something else and not you just doing his thing, go to center line and start healing. Don't talk. You're quiet. Just start healing. Dogs understand body language. Forget your words. When that dog looks at you and go, whoa, he's calling me over. You see that dog run, boom, right in position, bang, and now you're working. Now you're training. See, that's ghost dog. You let him free, don't give him any commands, and just start healing yourself.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos Podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all their own because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There'll never be one like me.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show, NWA Cane Corsos. We talk all things dogs from people from all over the world. This time we have brother Lance Woodley. And I want to say first off that Michelle Tester told me about you, and she was giving me some bio on you. And I was like, good God Almighty. And so you one of the treasures in dogs, the dog men that, you know, that aren't mainstream but are absolutely very important, a pioneer in sports and dog training and different things. But welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
All right. Well, can't nobody introduce you like you can yourself. Can you get an audience just a little bit of your background, where you from, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
Mhm.
Been training dogs or messing around with dogs since I was about 15 years old. Let's see. Found Schutzhund back in 1977.
Wow.
When I was in high school, I found it in the back of a Dog World magazine.
Uh-huh.
Then there was a group in my neighborhood. It was NASA, North American Schutzhund Association.
Okay.
But I didn't know too much about them. I just ran across them, but never really dabbled into it.
Mhm.
Really started a Schutzhund club in 1988 called Inner City Schutzhund Club,
Mhm.
and been playing ever since.
I hear you. So you got into dogs very young, training.
Yeah, it was the interesting part was I was asthmatic to dogs. I was allergic to dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't have a dog when I was younger. So I always played with my friends' dogs.
Right.
Because it pretty much almost, once I got my first dog, it pretty much almost killed me because I kept having asthma attacks.
Uh-huh.
And but I refused to quit, so I finally grew out of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so being in you mentioned Dog Sports Magazine. Back in the today is just internet, you know what I mean? But back then it was that magazine that played a difference in a lot of uh uh what you found, information you found besides traveling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain it to us how you enhance yourself in the sport.
Well, the magazine I found the sport in, I was just scrolling through. It was Dog World magazine. I
Okay.
believe Dog World. It was just a magazine, dog advertisements and all that. I was in the back of it, saw this advertisement. It said Schutzhund. Hmm. Okay, caught my eye.
Mhm.
I know it was Fritz Bieler doing a seminar with his dog Drigon
Mhm.
down in, I think it was Bozeman, Arkansas.
Okay.
Um, and I just kind of read through it, and that was it. And then I found I found a videotape of stuff. I don't know where I couldn't even tell you where I found it. I found a videotape, bought a couple of videotapes, and then I started buying. Ed Frawley had a bunch of old stuff, and I just started buying videotapes and watching and seeing things, and the sport just really grabbed my attention.
Right, right. Wow. Okay. So as far as when you started training, what is the biggest difference in now and then, especially when it comes to the dogs and maybe even the people you train for?
Oh, I would the biggest. I think everybody back then, you're talking back in the 70s
Right.
when I'm, reading dog book. And the only dog book I read was William Kohler. He trained all kind of dogs, and he trained for Hollywood and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had a few books. He had
He
about
had a
3
few
books.
books,
Yeah, uh-huh.
and then I would find books, and I go to bookstores too because I would find, in these bookstores, find dog books because I was just interested in dogs.
Mhm.
And I got into bird dogs, but I never did anything with bird dogs. I just liked reading up on all that stuff.
Right.
So it's just as much information I could gather on dogs. That's the only thing I really read. Looked at dog books, grew my knowledge in that area. Um, Pretty much just focused in that direction of just training dogs. And back then, you saw, people think food training is new, but it's not.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, back then, some people trained with food and toys. Toys, I didn't get into toys. I ran into this girl. I lived in Florida in the 80s, in the early 80s when I left college. I went to Florida and I was training police dogs down there at this place called Vanguard Kennels.
Okay.
And this girl, Kelly Black, I think her name was Kelly Blackman or Kelly Blackwell. She was out of Arkansas, and she trained with a ball. And that's the first time I ever seen somebody training with a ball. And the people at the place used to laugh at her, but she was the better trainer of all of them.
Really?
Yeah. And so I got introduced to that, but I never really trained with toys. I always I based all my stuff on a relationship. You know, for me it was about how do I connect with this dog? How do I become one with this dog without toys, without food? Um, and that was my whole thing, and it still is. My whole thing now is still the same. Building a relationship. I love raising puppies. I
Mhm.
love raising puppies. Um, and building a relationship, making that relationship happen. But yeah, I use toys, I use food. I don't use much food, but I like to use toys.
Right.
And whatever the dog brings to me is what I tackle.
Right.
And so I kind of you evolve with all the training. But back then, when I first got into this sport, it was just like it was. Whew, I feel sorry for the dogs.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you, um, what kind of tools were y'all using then?
Back then, basically, you had choke chains.
Mhm,
Used to use throw chains.
mhm.
Gosh, you did have prong collars. Prong collars were back then.
Okay.
Um, and then electric collars kicked in, but they were those things back then were violent.
Yeah, yeah.
They were nothing like these collars that we have now. Those collars back then just would cook a dog.
Right. And
Yeah, they weren't. You could not use those collars to motivate a dog back then,
uh-huh.
in my opinion, because they were
Right.
just hot.
Right. So they were more for correction-based collars?
They were punishment based collars back then.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
didn't find anyone back in the day who knew how to really finesse a collar
Right,
like
right.
they do now.
S Yeah, so that's interesting. I might well go ahead and get into this right now with you because you done saw training involve a lot of tools and different things. What is your thoughts on e-collar as a whole today?
I think used properly, they're a fantastic tool.
Mhm.
I mean, if you understand, like I introduce my puppies to them. How I introduce them is I introduce them with low level in food, playing with toys, stimulating, playing with toys, playing with food, so the dog knows that it's feeling that on a low level and they're happy about it. They're not like knocked down from it.
Right.
Um, I use it as a motivator, so they just get information in their head with it because it's a very clean tool. But it can, like anything, can be extremely terrible as well.
Right. Right. Used in the wrong way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a video on this yesterday and I got so many calls about it. I was like, it was kind of like I didn't know if people were just against it because they didn't know how to use it properly, or are they trying to say, well, you don't need it was so confusing. I don't think people understand the whole concept of what an e-collar is. And I mean, I'm not talking about just younger people. I'm talking about people been training a while. I don't think they understand the concept of what the e-collar really is for my and then you've been in dog training a long time. Trainers have preferences.
Yes,
Strong preferences.
we do. That's for sure.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
It's like using an I mean, I think people. I don't like to be political, but
Right.
we've gotten softer in these years,
Mhm.
um, and I think that the dogs are totally different. The dogs are not as defensive as they were back in the day. You had a lot of dogs who were overly aggressive back then, around here, whereas you didn't see too many. They like to call it prey driven dogs, but I call it play. If you're dealing with balls and dogs chasing, they're just playing, playing for things, active for these type of things.
Mhm.
And you had that, but you saw a lot of dogs were very serious. And I think, in my eyes, I always focused on obedience. Having fun in obedience, shaping stuff. You didn't have to. I think you don't. For the most part, with young dogs, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on them. It's
Right.
about, you shape their minds and, teach them how to manipulate their brains, teach them how to problem solve. Once they understand how to problem solve and get what they want, it's not a it's not that difficult, but you got to get to a point where you got to dial it in. And everything in life needs discipline.
Right. Right. Right.
Some form of discipline. It just doesn't have to be crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think back in the day, what I noticed when I first started hanging around people in this sport, everybody did protection first and no obedience. They got their dogs fired up, wired, and then it was like crank them and bang the crap out the dogs to control them. And I'm like, whoa, it wasn't good for me because
Yeah.
I always did obedience before I did any kind of protection because I believed if I had control, my protection is going to be that much better.
It's still like that today, where they don't teach a lot of obedience and just go, 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 and choke them off and all.
Yeah, and to me,
Yeah.
that's not even necessary. If you teach obedience, everything is obedience.
Mhm.
I don't care how you look at it. Dog, if I tell a dog to do something in tracking, obedience, or protection, it's still obedience. So for me, I'm going to teach you how to be obedient. I'm going to teach you how to follow direction. I'm going to teach you that I drive the car, you got to follow. This is
Yeah.
how it works.
Mhm.
And then when you do protection, you say sit. Guess what the dog does? It sits.
Yes.
And you're not missing anything. You're not taking anything out of him. You just learn how to build frustration and control it, impulse control.
Mhm.
And that's what any dog that has a high desire to do something, you know, you just got to teach them. You got to back off and teach them how to use their brains. They have a brain, so teach them how to use it.
Mhm. Mhm. Gotcha, gotcha. Now, you started in personal protection, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I started teaching personal protection dogs. And then I got into police dogs. They both came around the same time. I was doing police dogs, personal protection dogs. Um, and then then in the late 80s, I started really getting into the sport.
Okay. Okay. Now, you have your own personal philosophy, 3 parts on personal protection. What are they, and can you explain it? What you mean by 'em?
So when I start a dog, I believe in teaching suspicion, teaching them that there's a threat, and then I let them know there's danger. In those three phases there, I think if you develop them correctly, bring a really good, strong dog because he's got to be suspicious. Develop that skill.
Mhm.
Then you teach them that there's a threat. That brings out more of the dog. And the threat is just presenting yourself even stronger, a little bit harder. And then there's danger. Now I'm coming at you, and there's a point where you can get hurt. So now you got to keep me off of you. But by the time you get to that point, you really don't have to do anything to the dog to make him understand danger because he already realizes his suspicion level's high, his threat behavior's there, and now he goes, now I get to deal with you.
Mhm.
And you got to be being a helper. I think in a training helper, not trial helper, but a training helper, you got to be an actor and you got to listen. Like I like to listen. I don't like teaching young dogs how to bark. Why? Because they bark with a puppy bark.
Oh, yeah.
And some dogs get stuck in that behavior
Oh, I
as
didn't
an
think.
adult
Yeah.
because it's what you teach them.
Uh-huh.
So I don't even touch, I'll play with rags and stuff like that, but I don't like to touch puppies. I don't even like to mess with puppies. I usually like to wait till they're about 10 months to a year and then, okay, now they're ready. Now they're a little bit more mature into who they are and their natural instincts are starting to expose themselves. You start seeing dogs, be territorial of their property, those type of things. And that's when you go, okay, now he's ready to kind of be tapped into. But I see dogs, I see people within the sport just taking these puppies and just doing crazy stuff with them. And I go, okay, I always look for them, but I never see them as they get older a lot of times because
Oh, really?
who knows what happens to
Yeah.
'em.
Probably ruined by then, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to realize what kind of brain you're dealing with. You're dealing with an adolescent mind.
Mhm.
And I remember years ago I did some work with Tom Rose,
Tom Rose, yeah.
and he had a dog Voss. I think he won DVG Nationals with that dog, world DVG Nationals with that dog, and that dog barked like a puppy
Mm.
as an adult. He was civil, but when it came to the equipment and all of that, he barked like a puppy. So watching that and I'm seeing that over time and time again, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why am I teaching a big dog to bark like a puppy?
Mm.
And maybe some people may say, oh, well, that's skill level and this and that. So be it. I
Mm.
still don't agree with training puppies and putting that kind of pressure on a puppy.
Mhm.
It's a baby. Let it grow
Right.
up, let it mature. I'm never in a rush. So
You're
take
right.
your time and you'll get the best of it. I always say, if you give me an older dog, what most people do with a puppy, you can get done in 3 months because the older dog is much more mentally ready, much more skilled ready,
Mhm.
and they're willing to. At that point, they're game.
Right.
Especially if they're talented. If the dog comes with the genetic makeup, it's that much easier.
Right.
If you want to do anything with a puppy, track it,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
track it.
I got a question for you about, you said discipline,
Mm-hmm.
and then you said let a puppy be a puppy, right? And
Yep.
I get that. But I know some people say they don't put corrections on dogs. I mean, on puppies. Is that is there anything wrong telling a puppy no, no, no? Because I'm wondering because it's mothers correct them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I correct puppies, but I do it in more of a dog realistic fashion,
Okay.
in my sense. Meaning, like my puppies, I don't even really talk. I do more physical touching. I
Hmm.
like to use my hands.
Yes, sir.
So I do more touching. I'll just hold my puppy, grab my puppy, just kind of restrain him. Hey, calm down.
Hmm.
Whatever he's doing. But I don't use a lot of verbal cues because when I use the word no with my dog, I usually would do it at about 4.5 months old when he's a little sensitive. His teeth are transitioning. And then I teach him that no has a bite to it. And then it's a good, clear correction. Knock it off. And when I say no, my dogs usually go, okay, I got it now.
Mhm.
And when they're older, they remember it. And you
Mhm.
don't have to get on them so hard,
Right.
you know. But if you don't teach discipline as a puppy, you're going to be hard a little later.
Yeah.
You know, if the dog has character, you know, if the dog has a strong character and he's developing, you're going to have to get some point, you're going to have to do something. So I figure, why not introduce it to him when he's younger?
Mhm.
Teach it to him when he's younger so he can actually understand it. And it's a lot easier. But I also have an issue with, you know, I think with breeders, and not knocking breeders, because I mean everybody has their own way, but
Yes.
I think a lot of breeders, especially selling to the public, dogs miss out on a critical point. When I sell you at 8 weeks, you're
Mhm.
missing that third month. That third month of interaction with your litter mates, getting discipline, getting clear discipline from your the mother,
Mhm.
learning how to bite each other. All those things they learn in that third month more so than they do in the first 2 months, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And I think,
I'm with you on that because this gonna sound weird to some people, but if when I pull the babies from their mom and I'm weaning them off, depending how much I let them interact with them, I could tell if it was enough or not. Number one reason I say that is puppies walking in front of me. If they have enough time with their mom, they don't walk in front of me. I don't like, she
yeah,
correct that for you. Yeah. So yeah, I agree.
yeah, and I think when dogs, like most dogs, don't even know how to communicate with other dogs because they're taken away too early from their pack, their litter mates.
Mhm.
And so I've seen dogs where I can see the clarity. I can take a pinch collar and just put it on a dog and realize that, oh, this dog has understands language, because some dogs will just freeze like, whoa, because they feel that particular mouth on their neck
Mhm.
and they freeze. And then you get some dogs who go, yeah, who cares? I don't give a crap. And they slam right into it like it's not a problem. And then you go, okay, different temperament, different character, but you can see some dogs have a sense of it and some don't. So,
Mhm.
and with puppies too. And it's
Right.
good to, for me, it's nice to do with puppies because then you can really see.
What are the key elements in developing a puppy that people may get wrong or leave out, skip steps on? Besides, I know you said you're gonna just let them be puppies, but anything else you're gonna be doing as far as uh training or anything?
Well, it's funny. I got this crazy little test I do when I test puppies.
Mhm.
I um I like to see their hunt drive, their
Oh yeah.
desire to their desire to survive.
Mhm.
So what I do is when I look at a litter of puppies, I'll take a piece of steak and I'll put it on a string.
Mhm.
And what I do is I separate the males and the females, and then I just drop that steak on the ground, and I'll move it around, and I want to watch those puppies just go. I got to eat, boom. But what it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to do because I've had litters look at that, smell that meat, and it's fresh meat. It's nothing, and they just get scared of it. They back away from it,
Mhm.
and I go, "Wow, this is insane. You're not willing to grab this piece of meat." And then I develop my puppies with it because then I started putting it on. I want to see them bite. I'll let them pull on it. I do things with my hands on them. I pick them up. I want to see if they're going to stay with it. It's mine. Um, and I do list a lot of little different behaviors with it just to see that dog go, it's mine. I got it. I'm going to survive.
Right.
And it doesn't create food aggression because I let them eat it from my hand at that point.
Mhm.
Um, but it shows me that this dog has a strong survival instinct. He's willing to hunt for it. I'll drag it. I'll watch them track it, chase it, pounce on it. And then you watch some dogs that go, nope, I have no interest. And for me, that's a big piece because I love checking that out with my own dogs. And I've done a few litters for people with it because I was just interested in doing. I was just developing it a few years back, and it was just I just loved what I saw from the puppy to the dog, especially when I went into bite work because I was
Right.
able to create behaviors on this meat through the bite work. And what I did at a certain point was I would actually take the meat and put it in a burlap sack because of the jute sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's biting and going through that and seeing where that developed. And I always just enjoyed that part of it. But I'm always trying to I don't stick to a program. Every dog is a new experiment to me. So when I'm dealing with a dog, my brain is like, okay, what are we gonna do here? What are we gonna learn on this one? I use everything that I have, but then I'm looking for something new to do, looking for
Right.
something new to bring into the table. So I can't say what people may be missing, because my brain is just looking to do something different, do something new, learn. What's this dog bringing to the table? What can I bring to this table to develop this dog in a higher skill level?
Right. 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 You mentioned character earlier and being your time in so long. I often wonder talking to people, uh, does time change things? Because I always hear people who have been in the industry a long time I always say the dogs were stronger back then, strong character, this and that. But now sometimes I think I be hearing on the just on the borderline of a strong character, not even borderline, a strong character being unstable. Do you think do people really understand what unstable and a strong character really is in today's time?
I think a lot of I think a lot of people miss this whole thing. Like I don't like to use the word drive.
Why
You know,
not?
high drive, low drive.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Will you under will this confuse you if I say high desire, a low desire, reactive nerve, weak nerve, high nerve?
Mm.
But if you hear drive, that makes you feel a little bit better. But when you actually use the words for what they are, what is drive? I drive a car.
Right.
Me, I'm looking for what's the dog? Does the dog have a high desire for this? Does the
Motivation.
dog have low desire? What's his nervous system like? Is
Mhm.
he quick to react? Is he slow to react? Because some dogs seem steady, but they have blinders on because they're in avoidance behavior.
Mm.
And they look like they're like, yes, but they're stoic. They're just boom, 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 and they're just there. I've seen some dogs in my time that just if you looked at them, you would go, this dog is nothing. But then the minute you turn him on, it's a whole different animal,
Mhm.
just a different beast. So for me, what's the desire? How's this dog's nervous system? The character. You watch the dog carry himself and move himself around. You know, in things, in situations. You know, um, it's like I don't mind that a dog doesn't particularly care for an adult, but how is that dog around children?
Right.
Can he separate the differences?
Right.
This is where you see the character of the dog. You know, like I used to deal with a lot of game pits back in the day.
Mhm.
Um, and this guy that I was working with, I was a teenager, and this guy was into pits. And it was interesting to watch pitties with children. They were just phenomenal. Like I wouldn't, I mean, it's hard to find that now, but back in the day, it was mind blowing to me because these dogs would, you talk about protect a kid, and these were game fighters, and they were like, children were just like nothing, but adults, they may have questioned them.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, I like dogs who don't have problems with children,
Right.
understanding that, and that has to do with, that's breeding, That's genetics. But, you know, you never know what the genes are going to give you.
True.
You
Yeah.
know, you never know. That's why I don't compare, like, breeding to brothers. You know, you got two brothers, one's weird and the other one's good, but you're closer to the one that's weird, and people breed to that because it's got the same DNA. But you forget he doesn't have the same genes.
Right. They not. Yeah. They not exactly alike. Yeah.
They're not exactly alike. So you
Yeah.
can't think, well, I'm going to breed to the brother since I can't get to this one.
Hmm.
So for me, the character, all that brings you see that in the character of the dog.
Hmm. Hmm. Gotcha. So, you were a pit bull man.
Oh, I
That
was.
yeah. Yeah. That's America's dog right there. Still, boy. Woo.
Yeah.
They have the toughest audience on media too.
Yeah.
Man, y'all. Oh boy, the pit bull world. That's something different. What other kind of dogs have you worked with that you really enjoyed? And what kind of dogs in your personal protection career did you prefer?
Ooh. Well, it's funny. When I really got into dogs in the beginning, I never wanted a German Shepherd
Mhm.
because that's all I saw was German Shepherd, German Shepherd. I was like, geez, is there anything else? So my first real dog I got was a Rottie. I had Rottweilers. Um, but they just had no desire to do obedience. And I just loved obedience.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard they kind of like that. They kind of like, yeah, I might do it with you. You know what I mean?
The Rottweilers that you see now, those are
Yeah.
lambs.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm from what was then and what you see
Uh-huh.
now, they were
Uh-huh.
totally different. These are two totally different dogs. Those Rottweilers that are doing great in the sport now, you didn't see much of that back then. They were a different type of dog, and you had to have a good skill to train them, to train that dog in through that whole area.
Mhm.
Um, I remember I remember meeting Jacob Pope. Jacob Pope, he had Rottweilers and he was so good. I mean, I just loved watching him track because he had that his dogs dialed in. Um, but I had Rottweilers. I loved I always had a thing for Dobermans.
Mhm.
Um, always had a thing for Dobermans. But they're definitely not what they used to be. I mean, you got a few dogs. I mean, you got a few
What's the
people.
biggest difference you see now with them?
They just you don't see a lot of I don't see the stability.
The stability, yeah. Mhm.
It's just that you got so many different things going on. I mean, and I'm just talking about the gene pool here. I can't talk really about the gene pool in Europe, but some of the dogs I've found from Europe, some of the best ones that have come across my path were like Russian Dobies.
Oh, okay.
Dobermans from Russia
Mhm.
that I saw. And there are a few people here that I always like. Tammy Marshall, I always liked her dogs.
Mhm.
She because I used to do a lot of stuff um, with excuse me
Good line.
with with Dobermans with a big Doberman group, but they were just a different breed.
Mhm.
Um, they were more personal protection. You get them into the sport. I mean, I've seen some really awesome dogs. I had one a couple of years ago. Then he tried to kill me, so that was that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's that strong. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just snapped one day.
Did you
But
raise him?
yeah,
Really? Okay.
raised him. But the only thing I didn't do to him was put my thumb on it because
Oh,
they remember too many things and they'll get weird. And so I kind of raised him and let him be a little bit free. And when he turned 3 years old, one day he went just snapped,
yeah.
lost his mind, and tried to kill me.
Yeah. Man.
Um, but I mean, I've always liked the bully breeds. Um, I had a few Corsos,
Uh-huh.
um, which I really like. I really like them. But my best dogs, once I got into German Shepherds, and I got into Shepherds a while back, but once I realized that the Shepherd for me was the best all around dog,
Uh-huh.
that for me was for the sport. To do the sport for me, I'm not a Malinois guy. Doesn't fit my temperament. I like them, but it just doesn't fit my temperament. They just don't. I've had
Right.
a bunch of them, and I can't really keep them because I clash. I
So
clash with that.
so overall, that shepherd for the sport is gonna be your best dog, you think, overall?
For me, yes.
For you? Okay, yeah. When did you touch your first Corso? You remember or what time?
Ooh, I touched my first Corso probably in the 90s.
Oh, ooh, yeah. Ooh,
And they were totally different.
yeah.
There were a lot of dogs I had that came across my path that I didn't see much of. Somebody just showed up, at my place with this dog, and I'm like, okay, this is an interesting animal.
Mhm.
Got it. I mean, Borbal. I saw Borbals in the 90s. I mean, I saw so many dogs that you see now that are popular, but they were just different dogs back then too. Um,
Mhm.
they were just different. But I always like that big dog. I just think I can't. I like them. I really don't want to keep them.
Right, right.
They're a
Yeah,
lot of fun, but it's like, oh gosh.
yeah. So with IGP, um, what are your thoughts on I know the dog is different uh today, but a dog like the Corso back then, do you think did you see anybody competing with him? Uh
No,
no, okay. All
no.
right.
The dogs I saw back then, they were just dogs. People came in, they had pets, personal protection. They weren't
Oh,
interested in this. They weren't interested in the sport.
okay, what personal protection they
Yeah,
were selling in. And
yeah.
I think
Most
and personal protection size is gonna be a factor for a lot of people.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And my personal protection stuff was, I mean, back then it was a little crazy because I just liked doing crazy things. But I got to a point where it was like, these dogs don't need to do much. They just need to present themselves, you know, understand that they can stand under control, be a threat, and learn how to shut off. Period.
Mhm.
You know. But I don't do it anymore. I don't
Right.
I'm not interested in that. It's a liability. I just leave
Yeah,
that stuff alone.
yeah. True, true. S as far as the school, you started this school a pretty young man. Uh, how did that what triggered you to do that, and how was it starting it? And you still got it today, right?
Yeah, I still have my school today. Yep.
Golly.
I started
Yeah.
my school in 1988.
Uh-huh.
I
I was 10. I'm 47 right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm 63.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
And actually I worked for a guy. I was working in Florida, was down in Florida for a little bit. And then I left, came back to Boston, worked for this guy for a few years, and then I realized I couldn't work for anyone. I just couldn't stand people telling me what to do, and they couldn't do what
Mhm.
what
Yeah,
they wanted me to do. So it
right,
was like, all right, just quit and do your own thing.
right.
And I just quit, did my own, just started my own business, and I ran from that point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, uh, older I get, more problem I have with working for other people.
It was just a problem, I don't
Yeah.
know. I never liked being told what to do anyway. So
Me too, especially incompetent people.
yeah,
I could
absolutely,
I could take instruction from a young person if they're competent. But if you're incompetent, oh man, I got an issue.
absolutely.
Or if you too much of a numbers guy, it's like you just want me to perform, and there's no incentives. I got to go in the office and ask for a raise, and But you good. I used to be the employee of the month. But I said the money don't. Where the money? I don't never see the money when you telling me all this good stuff. So yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
That's still one of
I've
the
I learned a long time ago. I said to myself, if I'm a fail, I can fail for myself. I don't need to fail for anyone else.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and I can keep moving.
Yeah. 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 And ain't nothing like good old entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You wake up every day up in a different mood. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even if you work yourself to death that day or something, it means so much more. It don't even matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was in my teens, early teens, when I decided I wasn't going to those camps anymore and all that stuff, my mother made me get a job. I did construction work. Didn't like that work at all. The old man said to me one day, he said, Lance, make sure you do, when you grow up, find something that you really enjoy and turn it into a business.
There you go.
And you'll never go to work a day in your life.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember that. I was in college and I remember that. And I was like, I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I liked dogs. I always knew I was going to be into dogs. So why am I horsing around?
Yeah. You figured it quick. Yeah.
And I remember that saying, I remember that, and I took it and I ran with it. And it's like, I haven't looked back since.
Right.
You know, it's been a great journey for me.
Right. I want to get into your journey. It's a lot of people that look up to you. I know Michelle she was real like, Joe, you got to make this happen. I'm not letting y'all off the hook. And Lance is just too important. You know, he's just too important. And she was just telling me things and different things like that. So I do want to get into your journey in Schutzhund. First off, let me start this way. Who was some of your inspiration in dog training or in sports and dogs, period, in your journey?
Oh gosh, there was a girl who got me competing. Her name was Jennifer Ayers. She was phenomenal dog trainer. Oh my gosh, I got my first German Shepherd from her actually, and she got me into competing in AKC. I did AKC obedience stuff for years.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I've just brought that into Schutzhund. And once I started, I started researching Schutzhund even more because when I was working for this guy, he had these Schutzhund magazines, and Mike Pinkston was in our area. I mean, most of the young people wouldn't even know who he is now, but he was a phenomenal dog trainer. You talking about somebody understanding protection? Oh my gosh! Wow. I mean, around here you had Mike Pinkston, you had Jim Ward. These dudes just had some talent. They were just talented. And I trained with Mike quite a bit, and but when I first got into this, geez, I saw about these trials. It was interesting because they had you had a few trials around. I didn't know anybody in the sport. I knew people from reading magazines.
Right.
And I kept seeing Gary Hanrahan, Gene England, the Volraps. I just kept seeing these names pop up over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I need to understand this game here, who these people are. So I researched everybody. I knew of T. Floyd.
T. Floyd.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I had never met any of these people. I think the only person I actually met in Schutzhund before I really got into it was Martin Volraff, and he just happened to be in a trial in our area, and he was sitting in the stands, and I just introduced myself, and we chatted, and from that point, I heard that there was going to be a North American Championship in our area. And when I was reading the magazine, it was like helper tryouts. I was like, okay, I'm going to train for this. I'm going to go try out. And so, and funny thing is, I was training in my house, because I didn't have a lot of dogs to work like that. So what I did is I saw how they were catching dogs, on these videos that I was watching, because I was watching all these old Bundesliga shows on these videos. And what I did was, in my house, I bought this house. I didn't redo it until I finished my training. And what I would do was teach myself how to catch the dog by hitting my door frame.
Mm.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would actually set up, run it at the run at the edge of the frame, and so of the door. And I knew if my knee hit the wall, I hit the dog. So I had to learn how to open up so my knee wouldn't hit the wall. And so I would just run into the wall, run into the door frame, catch. And then when I would do personal protection dogs, I started just doing, I mean, nobody knew what I was doing. So I was just working on the personal protection dogs, catching them. Okay, do this. And I just practiced on my wall, and I practiced on them dogs. And I would practice on my own dog because she didn't care. She'd bite anything I told her to bite. So I'd practice on her. And then I went, and they had this, it was my first dog show trial in Schutzhund was 90, 92, somewhere around there. It was a North American championship here in Plymouth. And it was hilarious because no one knew who I was. I mean, I'm just walking out of the dark. And I met this woman, Stephanie Dunyan, and she's now passed from what I hear. And she was a great friend. And she was translating. She was, she just helped me through it. And that's where I met T. I met T at the helper tryouts as well. And I was just doing, they had these tryouts. I didn't have a dog. It was just like, okay, because you had to bring dogs back then so that you could work on the dogs. It was just it was a totally different ball game than what you see now.
Right.
And that was the best part, was going to helper tryouts, because you got to see everybody just get out there and do their thing. And when I got out there, no one knew me, but they picked me for an alternate. And then the judge came, he was a German judge, and he goes, "No, I pick helpers." So we all did it over again, and I got picked for the back half.
Okay. Yeah.
And it went crazy because no one knew who I was. And there was this one dog. I remember this dog to this day. They called him Freddy Krueger. He was a Malinois. These people were out of Texas. And this dog, let me tell you, this dog was fast. This dog was fast. And they were like, people were scared because they had no idea who I was. And, and everybody kept talking about this dog, Freddy. I was like, well, if he can come, I can catch him.
Right.
If he's coming, I'm going to catch him. And so it was so funny because I did the back half. Timmy Cruiser, there was a gentleman, Timmy Cruiser did the front half. And he was very powerful. He was a powerful front half helper. Oh, my gosh. And I remember when that dog came up, the back transport bite was like a long bite. It was that fast, and all you heard was boom. And I was like, damn, that's nice. And he came off, as I was going on, he came off, he goes, "I hope you're ready." I go, "I'm ready."
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. And back then, when you ran out, you ran at the dog while they held the dog, and then you turned around and ran away from the dog.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they would send the dog on you. And then they would tell you, turn. And you had to turn around and attack the dog.
Wow. Yeah.
And this dog was coming like a rocket. And I'll tell you, but the last, I'm going to say 10 to 15 feet, he shifted gears and went faster.
Whoa, really? God.
Yeah, he shifted gears and he was on. He hit me so hard, he popped the buckle off my scratch pants went flying. But I caught him, and it was funny. When I looked at him, the back of his mouth had so many just scar tissue.
Yeah.
Because I think he was just a beast.
Yeah.
He was a beast. And there was a bunch of really good dogs, I mean, in that trial. I met one of my best friends in Schutzhund that weekend as well, Ralph Allen. He had this dog, and he was actually winning until I chased the dog. And I didn't understand that whole game. And it was funny. And he came up to me afterwards. He goes, "If that ever happens again, make sure you chase the dogs off the field. I was like, oh gosh, all right, this is an interesting game, but it was fun. I did a bunch of championships for a while, and then I just stopped because I just wanted to just start training.
Yeah, what go into that a little bit. What has been some of your biggest accomplishments in the sport?
Well, I mean, whew, I won our regionals in the 90s. A couple of good seconds and third places.
Mhm.
Nationals, big events. I've had some good showings and not so good showings. But my biggest problem is for me, I never put time into a dog. I mean, I never had that much time to train my dogs for the sport. This is actually this is the first dog I have now. The first time I've trained one dog.
Mhm.
Whereas before I was training 2 or 3 dogs at one time, so I never really gave my dogs their best. I never could give them my best or, do them right in that sense. But I mean, I had a lot of, trials. I was in Canada, won a bunch of things in Canada at some points at, with local trials and stuff, traveled around. It was fun. Um, doing help work in different places. Those were great because you just seeing different dogs in different places. I mean, I enjoyed that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I travel. I've been in, when I was back in the 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Europe, just going to shows, just meeting people, and spent some time in Belgium, and that was really interesting because I got to see all those world champions and their dogs training, and that was some really good time to see back then, and it was
How,
different.
yeah, I was gonna say.
It was different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was different dog training back then. I won't even talk about it, but
Okay.
it was some different dog training, and because over there they couldn't use pinch collars, they couldn't use e-collars
Back then?
back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
not in Belgium. They couldn't use pinch collars or e-collars.
Okay.
Um, so they had their own method.
Right. Right. You
Um,
can't discuss the.
no, I'm not discussing
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
but it was interesting, and I'll
Mhm.
tell you, it opened my eyes up. It even opened my eyes up even more to about relationship
Mhm.
because I saw some crazy things, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And look at the dog. That dog's happy. That dog wants to be. I remember being in the clubhouse with with all these guys. I was at one of their clubs, and I remember seeing this dog, Tom Lieftelhoff, and he was 10 weeks old. He was just a puppy, and he ended up being world champion. And I remember watching him as a puppy with his owner, and I'm like, this is crazy. I never seen anything like this. This guy's just wandering around the whole place, and that dog's right with him. And I'm
Mhm.
like, see, this is relationship, man. This is what I'm talking about. This
Mhm.
is about relationship. You
Mhm.
gotta have a relationship. And this was a 10 week, even 10 weeks. It might even been 12 weeks, but he was a baby.
Right.
He was a baby. And I'm like, look at this animal. Oh my gosh. And then the next year when I went back and saw him, he was old. I'm like, geez, this is this dog. Oh my gosh. And then I saw him, and then the last time I saw him in person is when we had the World Championships here in Boston, and that was in '98, in 1998, and he was just a beast. He was just a beast of a dog. I'm like, wow, this is what this 10-week-old puppy I saw turned into.
Yeah.
You
Relation.
know,
Yeah.
and the relationship was just phenomenal with this guy. And
Mhm.
this guy went on to win a bunch of world championships with his dogs.
Mhm.
Um, And so, for me, it's just I always like following, I love I mean, I made this like handling to me was really important because a lot of people weren't really good handlers back then. Is so I kind of made this handler tape. I followed a bunch of people. There was a couple of Germans I followed. I mean, I followed this guy. I really like this guy, Franz Guggenheim. He had some real strong dogs, but he was a really nice handler. I made this tape of him, Helmet Riser, Martin Vorath, and there was a few other people that. And basically, what I did was I tracked all these people with different dogs. I mean, I definitely had Fritz Bieler on there because he's like a master. He was a master. I mean, he's ancient now, but he was a master. And I made this tape, and I used to just watch this tape. How do you handle your dog? What are they? And it was interesting to watch because these guys handled every dog the same in a trial, no matter what. I drive the car, and it was interesting to watch every dog create that performance. Create that performance. And that's what I watch for now. Like, I love watching. I just like obedience. And my thing was, what's the first thing that the judge sees? Healing.
Yep.
You heal on the field. And to me, that was like my big thing. I used to trick myself, so I had to work hard at it. I was always say that I can't teach a dog how to heal. So I did the negative. I put a negative in front of myself to make me work hard at it. And I just love teaching. I love healing. I don't care anything. Healing is like it's a dance. It's your partner. There's you and your partner. Are you in sync? How you moving? And I'm a dance freak anyway. So between me and my dog, it's like that. I watch these people, create this. And so I just like, okay, this is it.
What's the secret to a good clean heel?
What's the secret?
Yeah. Let me ask you why, because like yesterday I was looking at this guy named Paul Feck, and I saw him healing the dog, and he had his hand right here by the head, and he was going down. Then I see him do another heel on another video, still had his hand right there in the head, but he had his hand right here, and he had treats in there, and the dog was so I was like, I couldn't put together exactly what I knew what this hand was doing. I said, okay, he's feeding them and getting that focus up there. But why was the hand right here? Have you ever seen that?
Same thing. I think I've seen it, but I think it's the same thing of keeping the head in a position.
Okay.
Because people are in this position here, feeding and keeping the head here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it's more of a guidance in that area. Like when I first learned, I used to keep everything in this hand, and I would make my dog think I had a ball here, and just have him follow that hand. Keep that head up, move it, but he's got to keep that head up, bring it back, move it, do different things with it, so he knew to stay there. But I never really taught my dogs to heel in a straight line. I was always moving, doing S's, because that for me was just finding that attention. And that was before I actually started using toys, because I didn't like using toys. I had this crazy mindset that, what am I using? That has nothing to do with my relationship. You get that thing afterwards. But then I said, you know what? You got to, these are all the things that's going to improve what you're doing, and your dog's desire is high for this thing. So why not have a greater reward? Let him chase it, control himself, let him find it. So again, like anything in life, you change, you adapt. And I basically I just get involved with whatever. I mean, I like using sticks. My hands. I like my hands being on my dog, and that's why everything's all about relationship. Because I always try to find, spots on my dog that if I touch it, he's happy. You got spots. I touch him in different spots, and when he just gets loose and gets free, those are my spots that I use as a reward.
You just killed my question. Yeah, because I was just about to ask you. I was going to ask you, what's more in a relationship? What's most important, the toy or the touch? And you killed us. So you got me. I get to the touch.
My touch. My touch is everything, because it's my emotions, my feelings. You know, you get to feel me, I get to feel you. Like I do this thing, I call it ghost dog. And basically, and this is it's crazy as heck, because it's like, you want to know your relationship and know your training, you do ghost dog. What is ghost dog?
Yeah.
Ghost dog is, you go out on the field, you let your dog just free. Let him free. Let him go off in the training field, do whatever he wants. When you see him involved in something else and not you just doing his thing, go to center line and start healing. Don't talk. You're quiet. Just start healing. Now, dogs understand body language. Forget your words. When that dog looks at you and go, whoa, he's calling me over. You see that dog run, boom, right in position, bang, and now you're working. Now you're training. See, that's ghost dog. You let him free, don't give him any commands, and just start healing yourself. See if your dog recognizes you. See if your dog looks at you and go, what's that idiot doing? Or, yo, he's calling me. He wants me to be next to him. And when that happens with my dog, when I do that with my dog, I know we're in sync. I know we're 90% in that place. Because he can read my language. He knows I want him to be next to me. Even though I didn't say foos, he sees it. He sees my language.
Right.
You know, it's like I always say, why do most dogs blow the sit in motion? Because of body language. That's it. Body language. Not that they don't know how to sit, not that it's not the command. It's body language.
Right.
You know, and so it's all about communicating with your body. So that to me is that's that relationship. You know, touch that dog. That dog comes in position, and when my dog comes in that position, I just touch him right on his chin. I touch him on his chin, I touch him on his lip, I let him know that you're in the right place, and he just lights up. And then, you know, and then they're pushing.
Right.
And they're pushing. And I go, good, keep pushing. Now, in the beginning, I don't care about correctness. I want to see him push. I want to see him push me, push me, push me. Because that's obedience is where I look for power. You know, that's my place for power.
Hey, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Holy shit! Some lady said they phone pinged at our house. I'm like, well, for that, no phones here. But I'll edit all that out. I'm sorry. Y'all close the doors. Some lady said their phone pinged down here. Yeah, I saw a lady come to the door just a minute ago.
Yeah. Mommy was talking about her, and
And she, okay.
Yeah, Mommy was sitting up there.
Y'all come right here and say hi to Mr. Lance right quick. Then I got to get back recording.
Hello.
This is an awesome dog trainer. Y'all need to get some tips from him. These my kids.
Hello, young children.
Say hi to y'all. Y'all can't hear him. Okay. All right. Bye. Let's go. All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm glad that wasn't live. Okay. Let me time stamp this out. Where were we at? I'm sorry. A relationship. You still talking about relationship?
Just talking about relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you do that, when you do ghost dog, man, you do it with your dog. It's just a phenomenal thing to see, because the dog just understands your language. And you know, and that's, you know, I realized this a long time ago. If my dog can't understand me physically,
Right.
got a problem.
Yeah, that bond has to be there. Let me. I'm gonna step back a little bit.
Yep.
Now, this is gonna be a weird question. How tall are you?
6 feet.
I knew it. Let me ask you why, I'm gonna tell you why I kind of knew that. When it came to helpers, did they want you guys to be kind of like really athletic, strong, and different things like that? There were a lot of helpers, or did you see variances of sizes?
No, there was back then. There was a variance of sizes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but most everybody was in really good shape.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know I used to do this one guy. I used to do a bunch of trials with. His name was Duffy Graham. He was about my height too. He was out of California. I think he was out of California, but boy, could he catch dogs too. He was a good one.
Right.
But Timmy Cruiser was like, I think Timmy might have been like 5'9", but he was just a stat. He was just in phenomenal shape.
Right.
You know, most of the helpers back then, they were just in really good shape, but they were big dudes. They weren't. You didn't see too many. You really didn't see too many short dudes.
Right.
But yeah, most of the guys were just. We were all fit.
Right. Right. Let me ask you about this. I'm gonna name a few dogs, and I want you to tell me about these dogs.
Oh gosh.
Toby the Bruce Lee.
Toby the Bruce Lee. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Toby was a dog bred out of Canada.
Mhm.
I bought him from Mike Pinkston. The breeder was Paul Rousseau, and I was in between dogs. I saw this dog, and he was something else. He had his. You talking about a dog who had his own mind? He had an objective. If he knew that objective, that was it. He was a serious dog. I had to really work hard on his obedience, because he was just intense. Good tracking dog, good protection dog. He was good in obedience too when his head was dialed in right. But he was very serious. He was a really old school dog. I used to go. I'm a hiker. I like being in the woods.
Mhm.
And I remember one day I had my daughter. She was baby, and we were hiking in the woods. And he's just, my dog's just roaming. And all of a sudden, he did this thing. He came and started circling me, and I never seen this behavior from him. And I'm like, okay, what's you? What are you up to? Next thing you know, people come out of the woods. I'm like, whoa, he picked that up. That's crazy. And all
Yeah.
he did was circle us. He didn't do anything else but just circle us. And I didn't teach this. He just did this on his own.
Wow.
And we kept hiking. Okay, I took a break. We went off into this little cove area. I sat down. He stood at the entrance, and then he moved over to the side and laid down. And I was like, okay, we're just hanging out. All of a sudden, he gets up and stands at the entrance where we were. I'm like, okay, I don't see anybody and I don't hear anything, but he's standing there alert. I was like, something's around. And all of a sudden, I heard somebody go, is he okay? I was like, yeah, he's fine. And he just watched them go by. I didn't say a word. He just watched them go by. And then he went and laid down off on the side. I was like, yeah, you're not really a sport dog. You got something else on your mind.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, he was good though. I mean, he would have hurt somebody for me, just in general. I mean, he would hang out with me. I remember a guy came into my shop. I was sitting in chairs, and the guy walked up, and that dog got up and just came in front of us, and he was a dark faced dog. He was a black dog. He was a bicolor, but he had a real dark face and real dark eyes. And I'm just watching him. I don't say anything. I'm just watching him. And he's just staring at this dude. Goes, is he gonna bite me? I go, nah, you just don't need to come any closer. I don't know what he's gonna do. And I don't feel like telling him anything. So I want to see his behaviors. So you stay where you are.
Right.
But he was one of those. He was a good dog, but he ended up breaking his back somehow. Cracked a couple of vertebrae in his lower back. And I didn't have a long career with him. I got him to one national. When I got him to the national, I realized something was wrong because when he jumped over the wall, he actually jumped with his front end and pulled his rear end over. And I was like, ooh, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And so I just went and had him checked out. And yeah, I did the surgery on him, but the damage was so severe that I just kind of put him down.
Right.
Because he couldn't go to the bathroom anymore. He always felt like he had to go to the bathroom. So it was like, I can't let him live like this.
Yeah.
He was too good of a dog. So I only got a couple. I got him up to Schutzhund 3, got him to one big trial, and that was it.
Right. What about Toby? You remember Toby dog?
Well, Toby's the one we just talked about.
Oh, I thought that was Bruce Lee. Bruce
Yeah,
Lee.
Toby the Bruce
what?
Lee.
Okay. What about Nico?
And now Nico, he was a machine. Oh my
Okay.
God. This dog, this was a funny story about him. He
What kind
I was
of
at my
dog was
buddy's
he?
place in Canada picking up dogs because I used to get dogs from him for the police.
Mhm.
And Toby, I mean, Nico he might have been he was like 4 months old, and he was just running in the kennel back and forth, back and forth. And I'm looking at this dog, and he just looks at me. I said to my buddy, "What are you doing with him?" He goes, "Nothing. You want him? You can have him." I was like, "Great, I'll take him." He goes, "You want that dog?" I go, "Yeah, I like this dog." And he was just in the kennel, and he goes, and remember, he goes, I said, "Just bring him down. When you bring all the other dogs, just bring him with you." So when he brings him to me, the dog, he's about 5 months now. And he's all scrawny and he's skinny. He gets out the back of his truck and he's looking around and he's like, "Oh my gosh, where am I?" Because this guy lived in the back. He lived in Quebec, back in the woods. So he didn't see the dog. Just was in a kennel, and he was like, he handed me the leash. He goes, "Here you go, and you can't return him." I said, "Oh, I have no interest in returning him. This dog, you'll see." And I'll tell you, everybody was like, "What are you doing with this dog? He's a spook. He's scared of everything." I said, "Your problem is you're looking at the outside of the dog, and I'm looking at the inside of the dog.
Mm.
See, I look at your eyes. Your eyes are going to tell me more about you than what your body frame is telling me.
Mm.
Let me look at what's inside of you. Is anybody home?" See, that's the first thing I do. I look in your eyes. Look in the dog's eyes. He's going to tell me everything I need to know that I like.
Right.
And he was that dog. That dog would heal for 5 hours.
Mm.
He would just go, and people were shocked. I took second place at our regionals with him. He got sick. I took him to a nationals. He was the last. Yeah, he was the last dog I showed in 2002 before I quit the sport for a while. And took him to the nationals, and he had caught something. He got sick, but we did pretty good. I was happy with his performance. He was not a, oh gosh, his tracking was crazy. He was either on or he was off.
Mm-hmm.
He just one of those dogs. He would be out, and it was interesting because he could never get lost in obedience. He was always focused, but he would get tracking, and all of a sudden he just drift.
Yeah.
His mind would just drift somewhere. And I was like, but I remember the day that I was tracking him for a regional championship, and he was killing the track until he got to, let's see, 1, 2, that third corner. He just walked that corner. He kept his nose down. He walked that corner, and I was like, this dog is not on the track.
Yeah.
I stopped, and it was funny because I used to do a lot of tracking. I don't know if you know Gene England.
No.
Okay, Gene's old school, and I used to do a lot of training. He was a good tracking guy, and I could hear Gene in my head, walk backwards, walk backwards. So I was sitting there, I just started walking backwards. That dog tracked all the way back, took the corner, and finished the track. I was like, damn, that was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy, especially for him. But he was a really good dog. I really liked that dog. Good sized sable dog. He wasn't a big dog. He was probably about 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But just a machine. Just would work. Super temperament. He was a dog I actually trained with no toys.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, I trained. I just built that relationship with him. I pretty much, for the most part, didn't train him with any toys. And I'll send you a video of him healing in a trial,
Please.
and you tell
Yeah.
me what you think of it. And this is
Okay.
all with no toys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah.
And he was just a machine.
Oh, nice.
He was a machine. His problem was when he was younger, he just didn't see the world. And I live in the city. I live right in the heart of Boston. I used to just take him out, get on the medium strip, and play tug with him. cars going by, people's going by. We just play and play. I just do all kind of stuff until he was like, man, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
didn't care. He was
Right.
he was a good dog.
Yeah.
But again, when I had him, I had another dog, Blitz, the Bruce
Yep.
Lee that I was training. I
That's
was
the way.
training Blitz.
Uh-huh.
Blitz was older than him, so I was focused more on Blitz than I was Nico. Again, training two dogs at the same time.
It's
You
rough.
know, and they both didn't get what they could have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Blitz, I did really well with him. He was good. He was the one I won the regionals with here in Boston, and did some pretty good. Had some pretty good outings with him. He was a big dog. He was a big dog. He was like 95, 98 pounds. He carried 100 and something easily, but I didn't let him get that big
Right.
because
Right.
he was a beast. He was really a good dog. I really liked him.
Yeah.
But he made me work too. And he was another one. I didn't train with any toys.
Mm.
Nope. Just me.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah,
Really?
they were some good dogs, man. My brain is now just picturing these dogs again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
talked about these dogs in a while.
Now I hope you got pictures of them. I hope you got at least one of pictures of them so I can post them.
Yeah. I'll send you pictures of. I gotta find pictures of Toby.
Okay.
But I have pictures of. I got pictures of Nico. I'll send you that video of Nico in a trial healing.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. I kind of took his healing video and just kind of chopped it up so I could watch it when I got back into showing dogs again, because I was out for a while. I stopped showing in 2002, and then I had heart surgery in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I can't race cars anymore because I was racing cars.
Okay.
So I was like,
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. So I got to find something else that I love to do. So I was like, just get a dog.
What kind of cars would you race?
I had BMWs. I had a Mini
really?
Cooper and a 328 BMW.
Oh, Speed Demon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like power.
Speed Demon. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Brim?
Now Brim was the dog I got after my after my heart surgery. I got him from this woman Shesty,
Mm-hmm.
and she was having this litter, and I was like, I need a dog. Just pick me a puppy out of your litter that you think will fit me.
Right.
And he was a phenomenal dog. I mean, he was super. He was just a great dog. He's 11. He'll be 11 this year, but he's on his last leg. He's hurting right now.
Right.
But I mean, him and I did really well. But you talk about a mind. He had his own mind. And again, I was training him. Then I was training another dog. I was training a Doberman I had. So I really didn't I mean, and my problem is too with him is I just didn't have. I mean, I only train once or twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. That's the time I put in. But he did really well. Our last outing, we were like 6th place at the World Working Dog Championship.
Oh wow.
So that was good. I was happy with him there. 3rd place at our regionals at one point. So we played a little bit. He was super black dog. He was a black dog.
Mm-hmm.
And big boy, and just super in the brain. Really, really good temperament. Really super. My daughter liked him.
Yeah.
When she likes a dog, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I like the way you talk about the way the dog's mind and things like you said. You looking in the eyes and it's telling you everything. Those are some really good tips people think about. I could do a subject with you on that all by itself, but I'm gonna take you somewhere else right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I see in 1993 you founded the Inner City Schutzhund Club, right?
Yep, Inner City. We started in 88.
88.
But we didn't become a full club until 90, 92, 93.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
And it's still going,
It's
right?
still going.
Okay.
3
decades.
I'm not an active member
Right.
in the club anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But now they changed the name once they got rid of Schutzhund. Now it's Inner City Working Dog Club.
Okay.
Because they changed the name on it because they got rid of Schutzhund. I don't know. I would have kept it, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Who just in your school, did you have any proteges that did really well, and different people that come up out of your clubs and things like that?
So our club, we had a really good club back in the day. I mean, everybody competed. Everybody did really well. I had two dogs. Two dogs in my club won the regionals. Um, I used to train a lot with Debbie Zappia.
Mm-hmm.
I trained a lot with her, and she did well.
Mm-hmm.
I just did helper work for her. But in my group, they weren't big competitors at nationals, but they all did well in local stuff. And one of the girls who trains with me, um, Tracy. I mean, I'm not going to take the credit for her tracking abilities, but she was on the USA tracking team. She represented the United States in the FH championship in Europe, I think
Oh,
3
wow.
times.
Yeah.
1, 2, yeah, 3 times. And yeah, but we used to go to clubs. We were a crazy club because we always had about 10 people from our club. We would just go to different clubs and trial. We went around, we trialed, everybody did pretty decent. Everybody did well. Everybody put the time in because we used to train back then. We trained Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we all tracked together. We all did obedience, and we all did protection. Um, and that's what our training day was like. So it was like 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 or 7 o'clock in the
Oh,
evening.
wow. Yeah. Y'all was
Yeah,
getting it
we were nuts. We were out of control. It was
in.
just like it was consumed. It consumed my life.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but it was worth watching everybody just be happy, have fun, enjoy. We were crazy. I mean, I know I was crazy back then. It was just out of control. Um, it was just totally out of control. But we had a blast. It's not like now. Now it's different. We used to go to different clubs and train. You don't see that much anymore now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not around here. We used to have a good time. Everybody would just get together and train, and they have the training groups. They have like a training weekend, but we didn't have those back then. We would just go to different clubs. Let's go to this club and train this weekend. Hey, you guys want to have us? And we would just do that a lot.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. We had, you always have rivalries. You're always looking to beat everybody, but it was just fun.
Right. I
You
get
had you still had the craziness of it all, but it was a good time.
you. Yeah. Crazy just goes generation to generation.
Exactly. Each generation has its own type of crazy.
Yeah. And everything, dogs. There's some kind of craziness going on.
Absolutely.
I got this question for you because you done worked a lot of different dogs.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of different dogs. I know you giant schnauzers. What are your thoughts about them?
Oh, I always said when you have a good giant schnauzer, it's like having a good German Shepherd.
Oh, okay, same thing. Yeah, Swiss Army knife they call it, ain't it?
Absolutely. I love a good giant schnauzer. She got a really super nice male right now. He's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He is a beast.
Yeah, she got me want to get one.
His dog is a beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you done worked a lot of breeds. So I'm gonna ask you this question:
Hmm.
Is training just training, reading dogs, no matter what the breed, or do you need some knowledge of some working breeds to know how to develop a dog?
I think, in my opinion, the different breeds were bred for different things.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that into consideration when you're raising them and training them. for me, the Schnauzer is not a German Shepherd. It's not a Doberman. It's not a Rottweiler. It's a giant Schnauzer. The Rottweiler was bred for what it was bred to do. The Doberman was bred for what it was meant to do. The German Shepherd has its thing. The Malinois has its thing. You know, so I think if you recognize what the breeds bring to the table and tap into their natural instincts
Mhm.
and use those to your advantage, basic training. Excuse me about that. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Basic training is basic training. Training is basic training is to me is basic training.
Mm.
But there gets to a point where you have to understand, what was this breed bred for? You take those old school Rottweilers, yeah, they'd be like, yeah, he's running away. How am I gonna chase him? The Doberman, you teach a long bite, you were on long lines, keeping them connected to you because they were that personal type of dog. So you did long bites on a long line to secure them.
Mm.
At least that's how I did it around, with the ones I had for the most part. Back then, you look at the Malinois. This dog runs on a high nerve. You're starting to see different Mals nowadays. A little bit common nervous system. Depending on where they're from. I mean, I don't really deal with them as much as I used to. Um, but that's a different dog. That dog changed, in my opinion. That dog has changed Schutzhund.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That dog, the Malinois, has changed where we are. And
Right.
I think that it's positive and it has its negatives, because you can't, when you're judging, I think, like, I'm not a judge, but I look at it and go, you can't have one standard for all breeds, especially in protection.
Makes
Here
sense.
you have a Mal who's, boom, he's just fired. Look at the healing. This is where the healing really changed because of the Malinois. Head straight up, and then they wanted the German Shepherd to do that. Well, that's not normal for the German Shepherd's body.
Right.
You got one dog that's square and one dog that has an angle.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a totally different. If you look at the two dogs, it's a totally different looking picture.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Unless you end up with a square bodied German Shepherd.
Right.
You know, um, and so then they got, I think a lot. So I think in that sense, when you look at all the breeds, yeah, you can pretty much raise them the same, but understand what they were bred for, tap into those things, look at their nervous system. The nervous system of the Mal ain't like the nervous system of the German Shepherd.
Facts. Yeah.
You know, you take the Doberman and you take the Schnauzer,
Different.
somewhat similar,
Uh,
but that Schnauzer has a different world, because they got some hard aggression on them, you know. So your Doberman, for me, can be a really super obedience dog, but they're thinkers,
mhm.
and so you take this dog. It's like a dog who growl, I don't know. It's like you take a dog who hits the sleeve and he growls on the sleeve. He's biting, he's calm, and all of a sudden you raise a stick at him and he growls and bites harder. He gets faulted for growling.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not supposed to fight back.
Right. Good point. Yeah. Mhm.
That happens with the Mal, that can happen with the Schnauzer, that can happen with the Rottweiler.
Mhm.
But you got to do so much training for these dogs not to growl.
Mhm.
So they're really not the same dogs that we had, because you didn't really get faulted that hard with a dog who growled back in the 90s.
Right.
Now you get killed for it.
Right.
It's going to hit you. And I don't think, I just don't think a lot of people understand tones. Like I remember I was talking to you earlier about training puppies and they barking, adult dogs barking with a puppy bark. Tones. Listen to what the dog is saying.
Mm-hmm.
The dog says a lot in his tone. You can hear a dog who's scared on the sleeve, like feeling really threatened, compared to a dog who's like, "Oh, you want to fight?" and he growls.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand dogs, you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see it in his behavior. You're going to see the whole picture. So to me, I'm not going to fault that. I wouldn't. But here's this, we make these rules up and everybody has to abide by the same rules, but you're dealing with different breeds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in fair, so I believe in common sense.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
It's not about fair, it's about seeing the picture.
Right.
What's the picture look like?
Right.
What's the dog doing? Well, this dog didn't growl, but this one did. Okay, maybe this dog is more of a prey monkey than this one.
Right.
This one just hangs and you got the dog who bites and hangs on the sleeve and doesn't do anything compared to the dog who's on there and he just boom, let's get busy.
Right.
But,
See, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I wondered, I asked you that too, because I wonder, even in personal protection, do dogs get lost in the sauce because we don't understand where they are, or maturity wise, or?
oh, absolutely. I remember doing police dogs and I would see some dogs that just had a lot of potential, but they wouldn't take them because of, like, just let them mature.
Right.
This dog is young.
Right.
The program is 16, 18 weeks. And
Yeah.
you're just pounding training it, and it's like they wouldn't take certain age, and they would only take certain age dogs. So now you got these good personal protection dogs. All of them. Most of these dogs are just I think a lot of dogs are just misunderstood, misread. And if you don't take them for who they are, take them for who they are, not what you want to make them be. Work them with who they are, you'll get a lot out of them. And then some dogs just shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of dogs doing stuff that this dog just shouldn't be here.
Right.
He doesn't want to be here. And you can see that in the dogs.
Yeah. So you said on your journey, you've seen things change, as we all do in our lives. Whatever we see it change from the beginning. But what changes have you saw to the sport or in the dog world in general are you happy to see?
Ooh, what I'm happy to see.
Like, I'm glad that we don't do that no more, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes the one thing about the good old days, sometimes that they're gone is good too. It's some things about the good old days that
Absolutely.
we miss, you know what I mean?
The one thing I love that I see right now is I know I can go to a trial and I can see dogs, they really want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
People have adapted to, training with toys, training with food, really being motivating, with the dogs, being upbeat with the dogs. And I love, again, I'm going to have to bring it back to you. I love seeing a good relationship. I love seeing the dogs just present themselves with a really nice picture. Whereas back in the day, you could see some dogs, they were hammered the whole time. And you knew it's like, that's not a great picture.
Mm-hmm.
This dog could have definitely, done better with different types of training. And I like seeing that there's more dogs now that are more in a good positive way. I mean, there's a guy around here, I don't know where this kid's from. I think he has American Bulldog, and this little white dog is just happy to be there. it's good to see these, the lab Rottweilers. I call them lab Rottweilers
Yeah.
because they're upbeat. They're in it. It's good to see all these dogs just really having a good time with their owners. I appreciate that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't care if people are hard. Just balance it. Bring some clarity to the dog's head. You do what you do with your own dog. That's not my thing. But it's just like, just be clear. At the end
Right.
of the day, if that dog is presenting itself like I want to be with my owner, I appreciate that.
Right. Right.
I mean, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that now I hear they're coming back at looking at the overall picture and the judging, you know, because that had went away for a little while. You know, looking, it was just more boom, 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 and you got, like, wow, but this overall picture was beautiful, you know, and then you just saw people getting killed, and you
Hmm.
go, wow, what just happened? What am I looking at? Um, but if I can see the dogs just presenting themselves and the handlers presenting their dogs in a way that just puts a smile on my face,
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
Anybody you
appreciate that.
anybody out there now in the sport you like impressed with? You know what I mean?
I'm never impressed with people, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm impressed with the training.
Okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
impressed with the training. It's like it's funny. I never compete against other people. I
Mhm.
always compete against myself and my own training.
Right. Yeah.
It- You
I
know,
noticed that. Yeah.
that's my big thing. But I use people who I see who's really out there. Like, I've known Frank Phillips for years. When he first got in the sport, and he's done a phenomenal job, like a phenomenal job training two. He just won first and second place with two dogs.
Mm.
you know, and I watch what these
Wow.
people do.
Yeah.
I've trained with T. Floyd. I mean, I used to train with T years ago. I used to drive down to his house in Philly for the weekend or for a day and
Mhm.
drive back to Boston.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so I look at these people who are training, and I watch and see. I want to see consistency in their dogs, and what's happening.
Mhm.
Um, I never used to do seminars. I started going to seminars lately. I never used to do them
Okay.
because it was just like these people would show up. They have these attitudes. It's my way, but this is it. And I was like, this is nonsense.
Mhm.
Um, but now I'm open. I opened up to go. Okay, I'm gonna go. Like I go. Who did it? Florian. What's Florian's? I don't know his last name, but he's a German guy. Wrote a couple of books. His club has won some serious stuff, and I saw him last year, and I was so impressed with this guy's thinking.
Mhm.
His thinking. I was like, well, I've got to see this dude because I looked at his books. I don't really read books from front to cover, but I said, man, this guy's thinking, his mind is so good.
Mhm.
And that's where I am. I like to see people think.
Yeah.
Where's your brain? What made you come up with this? This is crazy. You know, but then you see the results, and I was totally impressed with it. So I kind of, I look at things and I look at what people are doing, and I go, this is nice. I don't
Mhm.
I'm just I don't I've never been someone who's like, wow, this person is like phenomenal.
Right. 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 Right.
I need to chase them.
Right.
That's not my personality.
Right.
But I like to see good dogs. I like to see people be consistent. I love it when I see people breed their own dogs and show their own dogs.
Oh man. Yeah.
That to me, that to me is a breeder.
Yeah.
You keep your stuff, you show your stuff, you know, that to me, I don't care. I don't care if you go out there and bomb.
Yeah.
I like seeing someone say, this is my breeding and I'm going for it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because if you don't keep your own stuff, that's a problem.
That is a problem. That's a telltale sign too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that I appreciate. I love watching the trials now, just because the attitudes of the dogs, what the people are doing. It really just makes me smile when I see a good dog out there just doing his thing.
Right, right. As far as the school, is the school geared more to pet owners coming in get training, or is it student based?
No, it's all pet owner stuff.
Pet owner stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it's all pet owner stuff.
All right. And tell us about the that business, the hours, location, and just different things people can
Oh
benefit.
yeah, so I mostly do what's called day school, whereas the dogs come in for the day, we train them and they go home at night.
Oh, okay.
So we do that for a period of time, and then in the process, we have the owners will come to class so they can also work with the dogs and learn. So I give them a little bit of homework to do before I actually have them come, simple, basic stuff to do, and then they come in, and then they'll have class with their dog while their dog still is in day school.
Oh,
So
that's nice. Okay, like
yeah,
so they go to work. They could drop the dog off in the day. You work with them in the day. So
yes,
it's almost like a boarding train, but they go home every night.
they go home every night.
Oh man.
Yeah. Um, and I set it up for a certain period of time. We just make sure we get everything we need to get in, bring the owners in with it, and just move along with it. And I
Oh,
will teach class. I mean, people will come in for, because I do consultations before I work with a dog,
mhm.
and I give people options. You can do class or you can do day school. But then if I see a dog that needs day school, that needs to be away from its owner, needs to learn how to be in crates, they just need a different social life. And then I make recommendations. Like I'll strongly go, this dog needs this. I do board and trains. Um, if people really want or people don't have the time, or the dog just really needs to be away from their owners. Um,
You said that twice now. We about being away from your owners. What do you mean? What kind of problems are you seeing when you saying where they need to be away from their owners?
Dogs are overindulged.
Mhm,
Separation anxiety is not a dog problem. That's a human caused problem.
mhm.
Dogs are not children. People think they're children. I mean, like, here's a funny one. I'll tell you this. None of the competition dog I have now, he's the first one I've ever raised in my house.
Mhm,
The other ones I raised in my kennel.
mhm.
Um, but I don't let him. He can roam around, but I don't let him roam around all the time because I
Mhm.
also have a bird, and
Right.
those two they'll get to playing and acting crazy.
Yeah.
And I need peace when I'm
Yeah,
home.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But to back up, I just see so much anxiety from dogs and their owners being coddled, overindulged, and these dogs have social problems.
Mhm.
And I see, like, especially, it's funny, women with male dogs, shepherds, these big old corsos, and they wonder why the dog's overprotective. I have two questions I always ask right from the beginning. Is your dog allowed in your bed? Is your dog allowed on your couch?
Yeah.
And
Too much rule.
there's your problem.
Too much rule. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they ain't happening over here. Yeah.
no.
I
That's
know some people like, "Hey, your dog just can't run." No, they can't just free roam my house.
Nope.
Uh,
I don't, dog is dog. It's not my child. It's my
Mhm,
dog.
mhm,
I love it. I'm gonna care for it. I'm gonna do the best for it. But
mhm.
it's a dog. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people may question that, but hey,
A
I
a
don't
lot
care.
a lot of people might question, but it's gonna be a lot of people that agree that these dogs need boundaries, and a dog is a dog. You know what I
Dog
mean?
is a dog.
Yeah.
And the problem is when they don't have boundaries, that's why they have issues.
Mhm.
These dogs have issues because people just let them do whatever they want. And then I'll tell you, some of the things that I see that people allow, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then you show up at the 5 years old and go, well, he does this. How long he's been doing it? Oh, since I've had him.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. You was letting him get away with it when he was young, and then
now it's a problem.
Yeah, now it's a problem.
I
Yeah.
go, you created this problem yourself. And that's what I see a lot. You see a lot of it. But I tell my clients, my biggest thing is, especially when people come with me puppies, I go, prepare to train your dog for 3 years. I said, it's going to take your dog 3 years to mature, to become an adult. I said, in between that time, that's when you can. I go, your dog's only going to be a puppy for a short period of time. He's going to be an adult a lot longer than he's ever been a puppy.
That's right.
I go, so you should be training for later and not now.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I don't like my dogs to have collars on. I like my dogs to be free. I said, but anything I'm going to introduce to you, these are the tools I use with my dog. So when my dog is of age, he can do whatever he wants to do. I go, you know why? Because he knows the rules. He knows the boundaries. I call him, he comes. I tell him to go lay down, he's going to go lay down. No ifs, ands, buts about it. It's not an option. And I go, but if you say, oh, it's my puppy, I'm going to play and let it grow up, and then you want to train it, that's not happening. And you're not even willing to do what you have to do now to put it in place.
Right.
So you're going to live, and dogs, my mindset goes, here it is. Dogs do what you allow, what you tolerate, and they just act like dogs. So if you're going to tolerate this, they're going to do it. It benefits them.
Right.
Put boundaries. And it's people love their dogs more than they do their spouses. It's kind of crazy, but it's what I see a lot of.
Oh yeah.
I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the pet business is a good business. I love it. I love just watching people, put their time into and get what they want from their dogs.
Right. I'm gonna get ready and let you go, and everything. And I want to just say, I appreciate you. I'm glad I met you, and I've learned a lot from what you said tonight. And your message is kind of simple, but it's really, really big. The relationship. You just kept harping on it, and I think people they're gonna feel they gonna get a lot out of that. But for pet owners, well, let's do it this way. For people, young people and dogs coming up, or older people whoever who's trying to find their journey in dogs, whether it be in sports, whether it be in training, what bit of advice could you give them just in general, being with your years of experience, just to help them along the way?
Oh, I would tell them, find a trainer that fits your person. Find a trainer that fits you. Find a trainer that fits you. Figure out what you want. You don't have to figure out immediately what you want to do, but just know that you want to train dogs from your heart. Love the animal. Train it from your heart. Love what you do. Put that into it, and you'll be amazed at what will come out of it. But find somebody who's knowledgeable, who's going to allow you to be yourself. You're going to mimic your trainer from the beginning, and then you just expand. I remember people who came to me to learn how to train. I always told them, each dog's an experiment. Just try, just do things. There's no wrong. Just do it. You're going to learn. Every time you do something, think of something that you want to teach a dog. Figure out how to teach it. Do this. Have fun with it. This is training dogs should be fun. It shouldn't be a headache.
Yeah.
This is who everybody who gets to train dogs for a living. It's a peaceful life. Find alternative things. I mean, I'm not a vet person. I'm not into all that type of stuff. I like doing natural healing. I use tuning forks on my dogs. I use energy work on my dogs. It help, this is stuff I just brought into my training because I've been working on myself and my dogs with it. I brought it into my business now.
Mhm.
And I've seen such great results with it. So I tell people, hey, look into everything. Look into everything. Don't knock something. Don't look at this person because they use pinch collars and easy collars and go, oh, I don't want to be like that. Learn about everything.
Everything.
Build a toolbox, build a library,
Mhm.
build it. Whether you're going to use it or not, don't worry about it. Because one day you will go, oh, I could use this. This will help.
Mhm.
Learn how to use every piece of tool out there. Experiment with it. Dogs don't care as long as you're not crazy.
Right. Right.
As long as you're not crazy with it, the dogs will love it. So, and you'll learn. Be positive. Be
Right.
open-minded. Don't be closed-minded. I
Right.
remember those days of my own self.
Oh
It
man.
wasn't good.
Yeah. I try to remain open-minded. Well, man, once again, I thank you for coming. I'm going to put your information about your school and everything in the description so people can know how to contact you and everything. But
Absolutely.
man, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
Mr.
you. Thank you. I tell you though, it took a lot for me to do this because
I know it.
it's
It
not my
wasn't that bad.
thing.
Wasn't that bad, was it now?
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
because me, I just get to talking about all kind of things and I'll get
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
off
all right.
track, get
Hey, I'm a
tangent.
listener, brother. I love it. And then my listeners, this audience, they I took this channel down the road of student mindset. I'm one of the only podcasts say, hey man, I ain't no expert. And you can't be an expert on all this stuff. I've talked to too many different people. And
Exactly.
we learn a lot. So my audience is, I don't even the people who very experienced have watched this. I have people like, man, I've been breeding 50 years and I still learn something watching your show. And so it's all about the student mindset here. So we rarely have any problem. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
That's
So,
good.
yeah.
No, it was interesting to do, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate Michelle putting it out there, and I appreciate
Yeah.
you, tracking me down.
Yeah.
To do it.
Hey, I like to see them gears turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were giving me information and I could see them gears. Oh, that dog. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be the fun part. People start digging and the memory started coming up.
Oh gosh, you started talking about them old dogs. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
I could see that. It's funny because I could just see all that time, all the people that were around. I'm just looking at all that stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Triggered another part of the brain, didn't we?
Sure did. Went someplace else.
Yeah, sir. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask for you back. So no.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad to do it again.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a good night, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
And do you need me to send you anything? I'm gonna shoot that video over to you tonight so you can see this dog healing.
Most definitely.
And give me a quick feedback. I want your feedback on it.
Okay. Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. Let's do that for sure.
Step into the realm of canine wisdom with our podcast, NWA Cane Corsos, where we interview dog men and women from around the globe. Discover their talents and insights on breeding, training, nutrition, and the rich history of dogs. Tune in to the most underrated yet influential dog podcast on social media. Your journey into the dog world starts here.